Hi, everybody! Or should I actually say, G'day, mate? Welcome back to a lovely, fun, but super amazing episode of Box Gas. We are so excited to go into all things Australian Grand Prix today. We are just super thrilled. This is our home Grand Prix. We're glad to be finally talking about it after 2 or so years, say?
It's been free.
Oh my god.
In fact, it's actually been 1,102 days since there have between the Australian Grand Prix in 2019 and this one that happened last week.
Be still my beating heart. I mean, honestly, I just can't even imagine, like this is just a Grand Prix that's been...
It's a Grand Prix, but the racing, the fans, the atmosphere, the city that's a stone throw away from it. We have been robbed, and it is so much. There's a lot of robbery, and I missed this race, and I know you guys missed this race, and it's good to see it back.
It really honestly is. It truly is phenomenal. We are glad to have it back. But honestly, let's just, before we get into all our feels about the Australian Grand Prix, let's talk about some news that actually has come up over the course of like this week and a half that we've, 2 weeks since we've last been on the show. So I've got some tea about the Miami Grand Prix.
Okay.
All right. So apparently, this Grand Prix may or may not have been put together a little hastily. And some of the residents in a nearby suburb where the Grand Prix is supposed to be taking place, called Miami Gardens, are actually very pissed off to the point where like they believe that the noise pollution from this is just going to be far too much. And they're actually going to court to see if they can get the Grand Prix like canceled.
Oh no. You know that race is supposed to happen in the next 2 or so. That's going to be like, what, the next 4 weeks or so?
Less, I think, I say. It's the first week of May, a weekend of May.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so...
I mean, it's like, that's going to... I mean, that's... Like... Wow, that's going to be very, very awkward for Formula One.
Mm-mm.
Like, and that's going to be really awkward for them.
Mm-hmm.
And why they didn't really think about that when they were putting through the Grand Prix is really, I mean, it's abysmal.
It is.
Because it's like, not everyone thinks of it. Look, I love the sport, but at the same time, I mean, you gotta hear out the folks at Miami Gardens about this. Like, I mean, that's kind of awkward.
Mm-hmm.
That it's awkward that it's come down to this, and you just know it's like how they didn't even think about it. It's kind of irresponsible on their part, and it's like. That's gonna mess people up.
Mm-hmm.
You already get messed up living close by the airport with the planes going by and everything. But I never thought about it from the perspective of F1 cars. They can be loud. They're loud.
They're really, really loud. And it's actually right next to like the Hard Rock Stadium. So all of that combined, and I think Miami Gardens is actually not too far away from the airport as well. So all of that together... I mean, I just think they may have some leg to stand on, but they're probably not going to, probably not going to work out for them because apparently they're waiting for a special permit to come in to allow the Grand Prix to happen, which I'm kind of surprised since they announced it last year that they haven't gotten that permit. Like, I don't know what they were doing. Like the track has been laid out, they have sprayed the paint, they have done the shit, like, anyway.
And then you could show us all the nice cabanas and stuff, but we could sit in and hang out. And which one do you want to go to? Because like, there's Club 72, that looks like a lot of fun. It is close to the podium.
Okay.
Like, I mean, that looks like fun. But then there's also the Beach Club, which is fun. And the Silver Arrows Club, I would love to hit that up. But then the McLaren Clubhouse also looks good too.
McLaren got a clubhouse?
Like, I mean, there's a lot of options to go and hang out in. But then there's also tickets provide as a killing. Like, just to sit in the grandstands for a 3-day weekend is $2K less.
And speaking about 3-day grandstand tickets and hospitality passes, the Singapore Grand Prix, their sales went live this week as well. They sold out, like, I think in, like, minutes, an hour. It, like, made news. Like, Bloomberg, like, already reported on it. And look, your girl here is trying to get to a Grand Prix sometime this season. Like, I am dying. I am living. I was, like, in Europe most of the time when all the races had finished, so it kind of sucked for me. But, like, Singapore is, like, now my next best bet. I can't believe I missed that.
Yeah, that was to the best of us. But, hey, apparently there's 2 grandstands that haven't sold out yet.
Right.
And it's like, if you can get in on that, you'll be golden.
Exactly.
But let's not forget, this is also another race that hasn't. This is also another country that hasn't seen Formula One for about two to 3 years or so.
Mm-hmm.
And people don't put. And you know that there's a whole contingent of people that's not going to play around with watching their favorite drivers, like, race.
And you just don't know who's going to be there next year, honestly. Like, it's just one of those things.
Yeah, and for all you know, Rihanna might come out of retirement and also find the time after having her beautiful baby to perform at the Grand Prix. So it's like,
I mean, I say a girl can dream. Like, honestly, a girl can potentially dream, honestly. Anyway, so that's something that is definitely happening and things and stuff like that. Anyway, so...
And also, I got another piece of news.
Ooh.
Sergio Perez, our beloved Checo, has been signed to a entertainment group called WNE, which is really exciting because we might get to see more promotions from him, stuff. Maybe we might get to see him in some dramas too. I think it would be great if This Is Us.
What is he going to do in This Is Us, I say? This Is Us. The show about the 3 children who keep growing up and lots of crying and tears and their dad died. What are they going to put Checo in for This Is Us? Please.
What are friends?
What? I say. I will get ABC to ban you from watching This Is Us. You have had it. Why would he be doing in This Is Us? What is he doing in This Is Us? He should be put in something that is relevant. Maybe they make like a Rush 2. Then they could put him in as one of the drivers. I don't know what they would do with the Rush 2. Maybe they'll make it off of the story of like Emerson Fittipaldi and...
Or he could, you know what he could be in? The Fast and the Furious.
That's so... You are the worst. Shut up, I say.
If he'll be in Fast and the Furious 11, that's my bet.
You are the worst. You should not be a casting director. Please don't quit your day job. But we are super happy for him. We hope that he gets all his coins. That's all we need for him in life, honestly. So, kudos to him. Is there any more other news, say?
I don't know. Can't think of any off the top of my head. Well, they did actually. Formula One actually did try and put in a ban on underwear. They want to do checks to see that all the drivers are wearing a specific type of fire-resistant underwear. And they sat in a meeting on it for a good 2 hours.
So this is what I'm going to have to say about it. It's not necessary. I think What I say? I totally missed that.
I was saying get the golden buzzer.
No, 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 no. I'm not going there. I'm not going there. Look, I just want to say that when it comes to that sort of thing, I think you need to trust that they are grown ass adults that can put on the right type of underwear. I don't know what you're doing checking for that. And that also goes for like the jewelry rule as well too, which by the way, I actually kind of understand now that I listen to the debates on that, especially if they get into an accident, which for that reason, Lewis Hamilton with his chains actually should not be wearing those things during a race. It's a bit too nerve-wracking for me if should anything actually kind of happen. So I kind of see that. But the underwear bit, I mean, Pierre Gasly made a comment which honestly, I think just in general, something about Australia just made everyone incredibly thirsty. And I'm not going to repeat the comment. You can find it on someone else's Instagram or Twitter feed somewhere down there. Say you're going to tell us.
Actually, check out a thread. We made a thread of all the fascinating things that all the drivers said.
And that, by the way, that deserves a golden buzzer on its own. I mean, that was a very thirsty thread. What's wrong with you?
Hey, don't shoot the messenger. They're the ones that said it, not me.
So why do you have to compile it?
It's just noteworthy. Like, so many things being said. Like,
I am very disappointed in you.
He said, you've never seen our drivers in my life. Also, I did add in some fascinating things as well, too. Hey, Sebastian Vettel threw shade on his Aston Martin. He said that the bike that he rode on was faster than his Aston Martin.
Which, no cap, that is very true, but, like, I'm still, like, that's just, anyway, it's okay, it's all good, it's one of those things, but besides the point, yes, on back to the point about the underwear, it is not necessary. FIA, they are grown-ass men that have been, clothing themselves and feeding themselves for God knows how long. Leave them alone. Leave their bits alone. Leave their chains alone. Leave their earrings alone. Leave their piercings alone. We don't care what they have. Just let them do the racing.
Someone was complaining about saying how he has some piercings. It may be hard for him to remove.
Who? Yeah, Verstappen, right?
No, that was Lewis. I'm sure he might be talking about the conch ones. That can be difficult to get out.
Yeah, I have one. So I have a conch piercing, if anyone cares to notice or care. I have a conch, and I also have a helix piercing. And I would hate to be an F1 driver to have to pull those out race after race, especially if you, just got it. Because conches, according to Afi, who unfortunately couldn't be here because she needs to study, those actually take they take about 6 months to 12 months to heal. And actually mine have just come around to healing. So they take a hot minute. So imagine being an F1 driver during your season, being forced by the FIA to take out the conch piercing that needs to stay in to heal. I mean, it's just, it's a pain. I think I don't think needs to be removed. I don't think earrings need to be removed unless they're like the big ice diamond earrings maybe, and then anything that hangs, those should be removed. The chains, especially if they're heavy, they can also be removed. But piercings, I don't know what they're going to be blocking.
And also nose piercing as well too. Maybe it depends. Maybe we're thinking about what happened with Niki Lauda and how that might just add difficulty.
But Niki Lauda wasn't wearing any jewelry, was he?
No, he wasn't.
Yeah, so, they should all go look at James Hunt, which, by the way, he wore, I don't know if he wore the necklace during the races, or if he wore that just for that particular photo shoot. But, they should be looking at people like that. I just think, I think the FIA is just trying too hard, but it's okay. It's fine.
But you get where we're coming from. I understand where we're coming from with this rule, but it's it's weird. It's a weird. It's strange.
Yeah.
One of those strange things.
Right. Speaking of weird, strange things, let's talk about people that go on scooters during qualifying. That was the worst segue. Oh my gosh. Anyway, let's talk about the Australian Grand Prix. Okay, so let's get into it. And as always, folks and blokes and Sheilas and all that in between, we are going to start with the qualifying result. We're going to kick off with who came pole. So it was, of course, your boy, Tafulsi's boy, Charles Leclerc. Second was Max Verstappen. Very impressive showing from him, and probably the only impressive showing from him during this whole weekend. And then third was Sergio Perez, who had a phenomenal weekend. But before... He did great. Just a couple of things. One, FIA needs to stop being a bloody killjoy. Let Seb enjoy his scooter. The end.
Yeah. Like, that scooter. That scooter. Him on his scooter. It was the sweetest thing.
It was so sweet.
Like, he was waving to the crowd and everything. And it was just like, oh, you want to pinch his cheeks? Because it's like, you know that it's been a while for him since he was in the car. Yeah. And it's like just getting to be out with the people after recovering from COVID. You just want to go, oh.
You just want to be. And you know what? I know that he can afford the fine. I mean, I think like, and I guess, yes, in hindsight, yes, the FIA was correct. He should not have been on the track like that. But like, let people live. Like, honestly.
Yeah, let people live.
Yeah, like, it was just so painful.
He could make it in MotoGP one of these days.
He really could.
Bobby Quartararo better watch out. Sebastian Vettel's coming on his bike, coming to lap them all.
And you know what? Aston Martin needs to go into the motoring game. Honestly, like they're just trash. Anyway, so that's just one thing. But the other thing that obviously made news for qualifying was that dastardly flight that almost caused a civil war in Canada. Latifi and Stroll had a bit of a coming together. It was, Now, let me just start by saying that it was probably Stroll's fault.
It was Stroll's fault. It was. I'm sorry, Afi, if you're watching this, but
I'm not.
Stroll shouldn't have been where she is. Happens to them.
I have no sympathy. I actually question her taste most of the time. And if she is watching this, she better hear me very loudly and clearly. We need to discuss her taste levels. I mean, she upgraded when she started falling for Mr. Schumacher's son. But, like, why Stroll? Honestly, like, it's one of those funny things. But yes, anyway, continue. I don't feel bad.
Like, I mean... Stroll should not have gotten into Nicholas Latifi like that, and it's like, and now it's just like, usually he has such impeccable grace, but that day wasn't showing.
It was just, it was just something else. I don't know. I know it could be the car. We could blame the car. But I feel like blaming Stroll today. It's just one of those funny things. But then, again, honestly, I just want to talk about Latifi, for like the second time since this season has begun. I am over him. I am done. I have literally had it with him and his terrible showing. And I know we're going to get into the race really quickly, but I want to get this off my chest before we get into it. Coming 16th, one away from the bottom of the barrel, when your whole ass teammate survived for 40-something laps on one set of tires.
Saddam.
What?
It was actually 57.
He did the whole race?
almost a whole race. They made him pit on the final lap.
Which was a bad mistake for Williams because they could have held on to more points. It was a terrible idea. Williams shot themselves in the foot and then he dropped to 10th. But I don't care. The fact that he lasted 57 laps when your man had to pit, I don't know how many times. He probably pitted too many times. But it's like he pitted and only can produce a result like that. Latifi really does not deserve that seat at all. Like, if anyone wants to come and fight me on this, let's go. I will honestly, this is like, I think a hill that I'm about to come and die on. Low-key. Like, it's like how I feel about, like, Come From Away and It's Tony's season when it was robbed by Dear Evan Hansen, which I still think was one horrible travesty that the Tonys have ever done. But, like, this is coming out to be very similar. We need to put someone else in that seat. Please, Williams, if you are listening, which I doubt you are, but if you are listening, I beg, please, Jack Aiken is right there. He is right there. Like, anyone else. Everyone else is right there. Jamie Chadwick is literally sitting there. Doing what? Going into W Series again. Why is she going into W Series again? It just breaks my heart. So, like, Williams, please, if it's money, Charlotte, let us talk. I don't have money, but I can help you find someone else that has money. And, like, we could go to a bank. We could crowdfund. You know what? Honestly, let's start a GoFundMe for Jamie Chadwick. Or I'm not even kidding. I would start a GoFundMe for her. Get her enough money to boot Latifi out of the seat.
I would start a GoFundMe for her too. Like whether she gets the seat or not, I want to see her progress into Formula 3. Mm-hmm. You know that the boss of Formula 3 was all like, "You're right, Jamie Chadwick should have enough money." It's sad that Jamie Chadwick isn't in Formula 3. And I'm just sitting there thinking like, girl, isn't that your problem?
And it's not even just like that. It's like, what is the point of all these driver academies if this doesn't help them get into the places that they need to get into? I mean, like, and it just makes it annoying. And, like, I understand Formula One is a very elitist sport. If you don't have money, you don't get a say. And that is the only reason why Latifi is there. I mean, like, if he did not have money, I do not think he would be given a seat. Because he clearly is struggling. And, I mean, like, I remember we were talking right before the show. You said, you read a quote from Latifi, right? About, like, him having issues.
He said, like, according to GP fans by way of Formula Racers on Twitter, he says that he had been struggling with getting to grips with the seat with the car that he has, and it's valid, it's fair. This is the third race. Look, Sebastian Vettel this is the first time Sebastian Vettel is driving his car after missing two Grand Prix already. So it's a valid thing for him to still come to terms with it. Mm-hmm. And also, one thing we could keep in mind is that the cars are not. I mean, they're still getting used to fine-tuning. There's some teething issues with the cars, and that's okay. The thing is that what makes it worse for Nicholas Latifi is the fact that his teammate managed to score points in the exact same car. We don't know what the setup was for both of these people, but it's not a good look.
It's really not a good look. It's actually very disheartening. And so, like, I mean, I mean, he still says he's coming to grips with the car. Mate, he's been in Formula One for 2 years now. Alex Albon went from one car to another car, then got booted, took a year off, and then came back in a completely different car that's different with a different engine, and is already giving Williams the results. What has Latifi done? Every single, like, he's now being outscored by he was outscored by Russell, and now he's being outscored by Albon. Like, how do you justify that? Honestly. And I know it's early days. I know, and I usually am the type of person that loves to give the benefit of the doubt to people, but this is just getting a bit ridiculous now. It's just a little much. So like I have to point that out. I know the crash was not with Stroll was not his fault, but like goddamn, like this is just not it. Anyway, and with that, let's go into the race. So let's just spoiler alert for you. Your boy Leclerc, he scored a grand slam. One pole. Fastest lap. And you know what? Let's just keep going. Driver of the day. Hey! But is living. We love that for him. And then we had Checo. What an impressive drive. Coming in at second. Wow. Like, he made me so upset every time he kept overtaking Hamilton. I'm like, what the fuck is this? But like, Checo, he was just amazing. He was so good. And then, obviously, we need to shout out this boy. He got his first ever podium ever in Formula One, I believe. It's your boy, George Russell. What?
Belgian Grand Prix. He came in second.
Okay, second in podium, whatever. But anyway, George Russell. Hey. We like that for him. We like that for him. He did very well. He is the type of, honestly, his drive is a great example of patience is a virtue. Just get to the end. You don't know what is going to happen. Like, it is just, It was just a great what's it called, example of that Maxium or something like that. So we stand him and we just congratulate him. He did a great job. And it was actually just a great weekend for, honestly, Mercedes-powered cars, because right behind him was Lewis Hamilton coming in fourth, and then we had McLaren landing a 5-6. So, like, maybe the engines got better?
Yeah, it was a good one. And you know what? It was good that McLaren, in the end, got themselves together. Because imagine if they didn't and they came to Australia.
Well, Daniel Ricciardo will lose his citizenship. The end.
And McLaren's going to be... And they would have chased McLaren out of Melbourne.
Don't y'all come back now, you hear? Speaking of which, I keep seeing Optus ads with Daniel Ricciardo on bus stops around here, and it just makes me so happy to be back in the country where he is a hero. So it was just wonderful. It warmed my heart. I knew someone from work. She went to the Grand Prix all that weekend, and I was living through her Instagram. I was very jealous, but it was just wonderful to watch it from her perspective. So yeah, he's a very loved man, and we stand that for him. We're glad that he had his home Grand Prix after so long. So yeah, I think like I'm pretty happy for, honestly, as a Mercedes fan, as a Mercedes engine powered fan, I was very happy. I feel like Red Bull and Ferrari fans felt a lot of emotions because
you got Charles Leclerc and Sergio Perez. They're celebrating. They're happy. But then Max Verstappen and Carlos Sainz couldn't finish the race.
One of them barely even started. I'm sorry. I mean, and I think like that's where the conversation is now starting with reliability versus just pure speed and everything like that. What wins out at the end of the day?
Solid reliability all day, every day.
I mean, duh.
What good is fast? Like, I'm sorry, but Max Verstappen's example was the example of what good is a fast car that can make it to the end.
Mm-hmm. Honestly.
Yeah. And it's like, they've also been having issues as well, too. So much so that the only race that Max Verstappen was able to finish was in Saudi Arabia. So it's like Red Bull powertrains.
I just no, I mean, like, look, I mean, like, Max was literally, I wasn't expecting too much out of the Australian Grand Prix. I honestly thought after Say stops crying that it was going to be a washout and Mercedes, it will take us a few Grand Prix to get anywhere close to fighting. But it's just, like, I was incredibly shocked watching it there when Verstappen just decided to gently not finish and pull his car all the way to the side of the road. And I'm just like, that's shocking to me because like they did so well in Saudi. They didn't do great in Bahrain, but like I thought that they would have worked out those issues out, you know, for a company that's like what's it called, to pulled a bunch of Mercedes people onto their team. And so like it was very, 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 very surprising honestly, to see that happening for Verstappen. And I do feel for him because this is a guy that's supposed to be, you know, up there with Leclerc fighting for the lead, but like now he's sitting at sixth on the drivers' championship. Like, what W the TF? Like, it's not looking great. And like, if this is what's gonna be like for Red Bull, like, okay, we'll do well, we'll win or we'll get second, and then we'll graciously not to finish, and then go back and forth. This is gonna be a terrible season for them. It's gonna look so bad.
Yeah, and I'm sure it's not gonna be an easy season for them. But I mean, I don't know how things are gonna go. Like the thing is like, yeah, I don't want to say it's the third race of the season. They'll be better. They'll get better. But then at the same time, it's like it's not setting a good precedent. And it's like at the same time, Max Verstappen, he has a championship to defend, and he can't defend. And I mean, the car keeps failing, and it's it's hard, and it's I don't blame him for wanting to lose out hope and go to other places.
Oh, he's not going anywhere. He'll die in Red Bull. I mean, he's not going to go anywhere. I mean, he signed a contract literally where if he makes it to the end of it, he's going to retire at Red Bull. So like I think his days. It's not. This is again too early days. I mean, like it's not like he's not producing results when the car is functioning. I mean, so like I think it's definitely not a him thing. It's definitely Red Bull need to figure out their shit with the car because like it's gonna look real bad if they get to Italy and it decides it wants to graciously go kaput. So not brilliant for them. I am not gonna lie. But like it's just yeah.
Like they got like 2 weeks to figure themselves out. And I'm sure, I mean, they got 2 weeks to figure themselves out, and they get an instant break in betweens to think about things. So it's like, there's hope.
Yeah. And then, honestly, I want to also think about science for a real second, because that same maxiom of what is, like, reliability is also working out in the same place for Ferrari. I mean, how can the car just not start the race? How can the car just finish the race? Like, how does that happen? Also, Sainz didn't have a good race to begin with. He started ninth.
Yeah. In fact, the whole weekend for him hasn't been a good one. So it's like, I mean, it's been rough for Carlos Sainz.
I mean,
I don't know.
What do you want to say? Is that the car or is that like him? Like, that's a bit strange to me, you know?
I think it might be bad luck because, I mean, Carlos Sainz was able to finish the last 2 races. I think it's something. I think that in itself, there might be bad luck. He had a bad race.
Mm. But yeah.
He had a bad weekend.
Yeah. No, it was just really, really, really strange. But anyway, I just think it was just a whole thing. And it was just a whole thing for him. One other thing before we wrap itself. Actually, no, that's all I have to say. What else? Oh yeah, I want to talk about Checo always getting the better of Hamilton. That felt painful. But like Mercedes had a strategy that worked out pretty well for them, I think. Like all things
Yeah,
considered. Like I
I
mean,
think it's a very good strategy.
yeah, it was really good. The undercut from Hamilton at the pit stop.
Oof, brilliant. It's good seeing them nail those undercuts now.
Mm.
And also, like, they were consistent and they were patient. And in the end, that worked very, very well for them,
Mm-hmm.
which I'm really happy to say.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's good seeing them, like, it's good seeing them get their strategies again, because I remember last year they had a brilliant strategy in Spain, and then nothing.
No, I get that. It was just one of those things, I suppose. Yeah, it's glad to see that their strategizing has actually gotten a little bit better. And you know, again, Russell's performance, Hamilton's performance for what they have working with, I think both of them. That's a pretty strong pairing. I mean, we've always known that, but they really came out and showed it today. So that was really great. Do we have anything else before we get to final thoughts?
I mean, my final thought was Aston Martin.
Okay, so we're doing final thoughts then?
Like, I mean, wait, what's your point about Aston Martin? It's like, yeah, that's it.
I mean, it's not brilliant, you know? Like, Stroll did well. He wasn't lapped. But Vettel not finishing. But Vettel, I mean, look, Aston Martin, I feel like is just starting at the back foot just entirely. I think they just had like a lot of bad luck. I mean, having to have Hulkenberg in the mix again, bringing him in, you know, Vettel missing out on 2 races, them dealing with a Mercedes engine, which is just clearly not happening for any of the manufacturers. I just think they are just not in a great place. So I think like 12, honestly, they should be very proud and content with 12 because like it could have been worse. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's not great.
Yeah.
So
it's not great at all.
Final thoughts. Say, do you want me to go or should I go?
I'll go. We'll start. Whew. Isn't it good to be back racing in Australia? I mean, Australia, Albert Park, all these delivers with the good racing. Like, what can we say? Charles Leclerc did what needed to be done, and as a result, he has a Grand Slam now. Good for him. Sergio Perez, George Russell, they also did what needed to be done to bring home the points. I think in the grand scheme of things, like the big winner, even though Charles Leclerc got his grand slam thanks to Ferrari, the big winner in this week was Mercedes, because both that team was one of the big constructors, but was the only big constructor to bring both of their drivers home to the end of the race. And as a result, they both have points for that. Red Bull. I don't know what to say about them. Like they got time. Like they have time to get themselves together. Mm-hmm. But they have a reliability issue right now. And it's down to the big wigs over there to weigh up whether it's worth sacrificing being fast for being reliable. Mm-hmm. I mean, Christian Horner made his point clear that he'd rather fix a fast car than try to make a reliable car fast. But time will tell if that's the right decision or the wrong one. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Right.
Also, I was rooting for Alex Albon to win Driver of the Day.
Me too! I honestly I agree with that. I think like the Leclerc fans are too deep. It should have honestly, and this is my one of my final thoughts. It really should have gone to Alex Albon. I'm actually very surprised that it went to Leclerc. That or even Checo. Like both of them had excellent performances. They didn't really put a foot wrong, and neither did Leclerc. I will give him that. But like you know, I mean, I just think like Alex had so much more to work with, and so I am very proud of Albon. Well done. Um, Look, if we learned anything from last season, every single fucking point counts. And Red Bull is fucking the bag. They are fucking the bag. I mean, like, look, they just, I mean, like, 3 races in and 2 DNFs. 3 DNFs, actually, because Checo and Verstappen did not finish Bahrain and Verstappen did not finish in Australia. That's not great. Meanwhile, Mercedes, yeah, they haven't been that great, but at least they finish. At least they get points. And it's proving to actually work out well for them. Russell is second in the Drivers' Championship. I mean,
Yes.
Ferrari's running away with it. But like second, you know? And so I think that's proof of it. And so I do think that Red Bull has actually some work that they need to get to do. And things like that. And I'm hoping that they come back to Italy very strong with a commanding performance because I think it will work out well for them. I don't remember if this is a track that suits them well. I think it might, but like I just think it. I feel like they're missing out on opportunities, and it's not great for them. And Mercedes is doing the Lord's work, and I am happy for them. What else? Honestly, yeah, I'm looking forward to going back to Italy. Let's go back to Europe. Let's do this thing. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, go back to Europe.
mm,
Like the thing is that I'm excited to go back to Imola for the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix, but at the same time, this is also a sprint race weekend.
oh fuck! Oh no! I hate sprint races. We're doing that shit again this year.
Yeah, we're pulling back to the again this year.
Oh god.
So it's like it's gonna be a sprint. I think we're gonna do a sprint race. I'm not sure how this works. They got rid of like the qualifying that's been done. That'll take place on Friday. I think this, and that qualifying is what's going to be what the grid is going to look like on Sunday. But the sprint race, they still have out points.
Wow.
So it's
This is gonna
yeah.
there's gonna be drama. We're here for it, but like there's gonna be drama. Do not expect a straightforward race for Imola. Well, that's our show, everyone. Obviously, it was just us, and I hope you enjoyed that. We are fun, and we love that. But we hope to have a few more people around for the next show, especially one very happyful to Falsey fan. I think that will be exciting to have him on board. But yeah, thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for enjoying our Australian Grand Prix, and we will see you all in 2 weeks for the Emilia Romagna GP. We we can't wait. Take care, everyone. Love you lots, pit crew. Bye.